Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. We're here on another Monday. So good to have you join me, and I just want to say a big hi to all the new subscribers. I had a bit of a flurry over the weekend, which is just super gratifying, and I'm very thankful that you've come to join me. So I hope that you enjoy what you see, and I really appreciate you joining me. So hello to you all, and to my other subscribers as well. I'm just so grateful to have you all here. So I've got a paper project, but I had to clear off my desk because I had it piled up with so much stuff over the weekend, and it was a bomb site. And most of that was down to this project that I'm working on. I tend to do it in the weekends, and it's Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, and this is the current prompt, which is Winter Village. So I've been stitching this, and I had piles of fabric and cotton and needles and pins and, you know, the whole works. So I just thought I'd show you that. I've still got quite a bit of stitching to do on it, but I thought I'd just, show you what I was up to in the weekend. Okay, down to the paper project. I watched a video by Cara-Renee, and her YouTube channel is Reborn Art and Healing. I watched it last Thursday, I believe, and she did a project. I think it's something along the lines of a tuck pocket flip thingy, something along those lines, and it pretty much describes what it is. So this is the version I made of what she did. So it wraps around a page. So I've got a page here to demonstrate. Now she did it on the folded edge of the page like that, so it would get sewn into the signature when you sew it in. I actually prefer it on the outside of the page, like so. And so on one side you've got this tuck, so you can't glue it down until you've actually got your page that you want to put it on. So it gets glued along here, and that's a tuck or a pocket. And then over this side we have a pocket here, and then this flip down, which is the flip thingy, flip down, and underneath is another pocket. So that was the one I made following her instructions, and super cute, really fun. I did make a mistake and glued this down too far. Should have put it up a bit so that I can only fit something very small in my pocket, which I've just put a strip of coffee dyed paper in that folds out for some journaling space for small notes. So that's very similar to what she made. But I then played around and took it a wee bit further, and that's what I want to share with you today. So basically you'll pick up how to do this from what I demonstrate. She used a regular size bit of paper. I believe she used a printable. I'm using 12 by 12 paper to achieve my kind of extension on of her idea. So I've already pre-cut this so that you didn't have to go through me ruling lines and cutting along them and stuff. So I've actually already trimmed this off. So this is the excess bit, which will get used. When I made my extension version, I used up almost all, not quite, but almost all the entire sheet, and I got two. So I got this one, and I got my other version out of this one 12 by 12. But then I'm pairing it with another 12 by 12 sheet, and there's a bit more left over of the second sheet. But you'll see as we go along. So one of these I'm going to put aside. That is going to form this version, and part of this excess bit will form this flip down bit. But I'm not going to make that on camera, because I think me doing the other one, you'll get to see all that anyway. So I'm just going to grab this one bit so far, and I'm going to fold it in half. So sorry, I didn't give the dimensions. So take it back a step. Gosh, I'm ahead of myself. I'm trying to be organized, and then I skip a step. So this is 8 by 10. 8 inches by 10 inches. Don't ask me what it is in centimeters, just do it in inches, that's way easier. So 8 by 10, and then cut that in half, so you've got two pieces that are 4 by 10. Okay, with me so far? So one of your pieces that are 4 by 10, we fold in half, so it's going to end up 4 by 5. And there's not a lot of complicated folds or anything. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust the camera because it's right up against my desk. And I keep knocking it. Hopefully that's okay. Right, so it's folded in half. Now I'm going to open it out and take my ruler and my craft knife. And I'm going to create an angle. So this bit's super easy. Just from that fold line in the center. And you want to bring it up about an inch, 3/4 of an inch, something, no specifics, just wherever you think's good. And this triangle piece that you cut off can be used as a corner pocket or some other decoration or whatever you like. So definitely don't throw those out. Very, very useful. Oops, I left a little bit of a shrink at the top there. Okay, so far super easy, and that is your slanted pocket. I think I'd call it a slanted pocket. I think it's more of a pocket than a tuck. So that goes on your page there, gets glued down, and put things in there. Okay, super simple so far, and it is quite simple really, the whole thing. Now what I want is another bit of 12 by 12, and you could probably do this with a regular piece of photocopy paper or something, that sort of size. I just liked having the similar weight paper. And what I want to do is cut a piece. I should have probably cut this ahead as well, but I'm going to make it slightly narrower than my 5 inches. You could make it exactly 5 inches, but I prefer to step it in just a tad, and I mean a tad. Like a 1/16 of an inch, which is just one of those tiny little marks, somewhere around there, and from the 5. And I'm going to just measure that off all the way for the 12 inches, and I'm going to create a strip that is 12 inches by a hair under 5 inches. So I'm just going to rule this because otherwise I'm going to have to turn my craft mat around. So I'm going to rule it, and then I will cut it with my scissors. So normally when I do this, I go along and erase any visible pencil lines, but I'm not taking the time to do that, so that might come back and bite me with some visible lines. I'll just have to try and rub them out later as best I can, or hopefully they'll be hidden by a bit of distress ink. I do like distressing these. You probably know I do have a preference for distressing. I don't do everything, but it just gives a really nice definition, I find. Right, so we've got this long strip of 12 by just under 5, which will fit just within that space. And I am going to, now that I said I wasn't going to do it, it's going to bug me. So I can see that pencil line there. I'm just going to get rid of it. And that actually won't be seen, but it's going to bug me. Right, so on your long strip, you want to fold up a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch or so. It's entirely up to you. There's no defined measurement or anything. It's just enough to create a hinge, and this is going to hinge on the bottom of your pocket to form the flip down. So I'm just going to go in here with my tacky glue. I prefer this for their strength and lasting hold over a glue stick, and it's quick as well, so I don't have to fiddle around with it as much as if I used a glue stick. And it is a narrow part. If you were using a glue stick, then I'd perhaps fold up a little bit more and give it more area to hold on. Alright, so just glue that onto the inside of your paper, So it needs to go on the wrong side, so that your flip up covers the patterned side. So see that? And this little hingy bit is on the inside of your pocket, so it's hidden. Let's have a quick wee drink. Right. Okay, so it's super simple. Okay, now folding this in however you want to fold it. Now I like to fold this so that it takes up quite a lot of the height of your page. You could all fold it backwards and forwards so that it sat under this line here, but I like to take it up a bit further. So I'm going to go to about that line of diamonds. Looks good to me. So lots of options here to make it how you want. Oops, is that straight? Okay, the diamonds aren't straight, that's all right. It wasn't me, it was the diamonds. Ooh, what a time to get a drippy nose. Excuse me for a second. Okay, so I folded that, and that just opens out. So this is on your page here. Sorry, trying to do it in camera. Flips down and then flips down again, if you can see that there. So you've got plenty of writing space in there. And I am going to go ahead and round these corners. So I'm going to do these corners here. And I'm also going to do these corners where it folds. I think that's quite an interesting thing to do. So when you fold it out, you've got this little chink, and just helps break up all that white space. And this is why I like distressing it as well, because it just adds interest to that white space. So just if I quickly whip around the white and show you the difference it makes. But it is entirely optional, like it's by no means mandatory. And I like doing that crease line as well. I learnt this from Gail, on Gail Agostinelli. Just adds something. So again, I've got a pencil line down the bottom here, alongside. And I'm just going to disguise that with the ink. And then on the top there, where it's actually the bottom, I've got it upside down now. Right, and I'm hurrying. I don't know if you can sense that I'm hurrying, because it's a lengthy-ish project, and I want to not take up too long or have to break it into something. And I would distress around the edges of that as well, but I'm not going to take that time at the moment. I may change my mind. We'll see how we go time-wise. Okay, so we need a pocket for here. So again, I like to use the contrasting paper for this. Again, I want to step it in from that 5, and I step it in a little bit more from this flip down. So this flip down was 1/16 of an inch narrower than our 5-inch pocket. So I'm going to do roughly the same and step it in about another 1/4 of an inch, but I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to mark it about where I want it to sit. Like that. And now I'm going to line it up on my mat. Oops, wrong way around. And use my craft knife, because that's nice and quick. And the paper now fits on my mat. I know I went quiet there, but you're probably thinking it was a good respite from my yabbering. Right, so that's the width of a pocket. Oops, it's stuck onto the mat. And then decide how deep you would like your pocket. Now with this pocket, it doesn't matter how high you take it. because the flip up goes past the top of the pocket, so it's not going to be a problem with needing a closure there. So I'm just going to mark approximately where I would like it. Just going to go there. Again, craft knife. Sorry if the craft knife going in and out bothers you. And I do prefer this over ruling and cutting because I don't have to worry about pencil lines. Right. Okay, so we have lots of little scraps of paper, which isn't what I was going to say. I'm going to get rid of them because otherwise they're going to annoy me. They're out of the corner rounder. Okay, into the rubbish they go, so they won't bother me. Right. And I'm going to take a little thumb notch out of this pocket. So I'm just going to line it up. It's probably better with that closed, I can see better. I'm trying to get it about middle-ish. Take a wee divot out of there and also out of the top of this pocket. So making sure you've got it the right way up. And again trying to just make it even, like so. So there we've got a little pocket to go there, so we've got our double pocket. I'm just going to glue that down again with tacky glue, get a nice fine bead around the edges. I do need to distress this before I glue it down. It's a lot harder after it's glued. Now I'm just thinking, did I round the corners on these? Don't think I did. You could round the corners or not, entirely your choice. I can't actually remember whether I did. I'm going to show you the one I made further on, because the one I made is all completely decorated, whereas this one I probably won't take the time to decorate, just to save a bit of time, and just show you the one that I've already done. Sorry, hopefully I'm working on camera. I've angled my camera slightly different to try and get it over my work without being right by my arm. It's an ongoing process. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so I hope you bear with all my trial and errors. Okay. This orange diamond paper is a Grace Taylor paper from, it's called Playtime. And the dark green starry one is from a New Zealand paper pack that I bought on clearance. So I doubt you'd be able to get it, and it had things like kiwis and pahurakawa on it as a Christmas theme. So I'm not going to bother looking. Oops, I've put that on crooked. Well, it seems to be stuck now. So crooked it shall be forever in its life. Not going to worry about it. It's only slightly off. Okay, so there's our pocket. Now I also like to put a little side tuck on this. Now you could use a cluster. I was originally going to use a cluster, and then I decided not to, because I've got this narrower strip and it's not quite tall enough to go that way, but it will be tall enough if I take it this way. So I'm going to measure, or just mark again where I want it. So I'm going to take it about there and cut that off. And I like this layering of the two different papers. I think it works really pretty, and it makes it quite smart looking. So certainly if you're more into the junk journal style, then don't layer this way. Use a few more scrappy bits, do a lot more collaging, things like that. But I think this is quite nice to play with. Right, and I want it to be, so I don't want to go right up to the thumb notch. I want it to be about there. So I'm not even going to do a pencil mark this time. I'm just going to wing it. Because it's not important. If I take too much or too little, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Oops. Trying to line up a smaller piece can be the issue without it moving. Right, that looks about good. I like how this project uses up most of one sheet. You have very few scraps left over, which is cool. Now I'm just going to take a little thumb notch out of this as well, just using my smaller punch because it's a smaller pocket. I'm just going in about there. It's just the barest little curve there. Again, I'm going to ink that before I stick it down. Get rid of the crumbs. Right, again with the Tacky glue. So whatever glue you prefer, whether it's PVA or art glitter glue, whatever it is that you use, it's all good. And stick that down there. So this is like one of those fun things where you've got lots and lots of places to put things. So now we've got a little pocket or side tuck here, we've got a pocket here, and we've got a pocket here, and then we've got our flip that opens up for writing space. Super fun. Now I don't know whether you've picked up or not and wondered how is the closure going to work. Wow, I got something worked out for that too. Okay, so you can either put it on the page this way, so the flip's on the front, or you can put it on the, no, sorry, yeah, depends which way you do it as to which way it's going to work. So if you would prefer the flip to be on the back, then you need to make this side the one that you do the angle on. So this bit under here, you need to do the angle that way for the pocket, the what's the word I'm looking for? Slanted pocket to be on the front. So depends which way you cut it round, which way that's going to sit. So for this one, the flip's going to be on the front of the page, which is fine. Either way is perfectly good. Right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some little strips of both of my papers. Now because the flip is mostly orange, I want to go mostly green, and I want 2 green and 1 orange for this, and I just want smaller strips, different widths, and I'm just going to cut, this one might be a bit small I think, just going to cut by hand. And you need it twice as long as what you think you need it. I almost cut it too soon. So what we're doing is we're making a closure, but it's going to also decorate the other side of the page. So if I fold it in half, so I've just cut 2 strips, and they are, I'll give you a rough idea. It depends where you folded this as to how long you need to make these. So I've taken mine, folded mine, yeah, 1 inch from the top of the page, and these are just over 4 1/4 inches long. I'm going to fold it in half. This is a wider one, And don't worry about the white showing if it's not cut straight, because it's going to be on opposite sides of the page, so you won't know. And then this one, I'm going to cut just a little bit off that so it's not the same height. And fold that one in half. And then I need a strip of orange. So I'm just going to go about there. I'm just using the diamonds, but the diamonds aren't straight, so my cutting's probably not going to be straight. And I'm going to fold that one in half, and then I'm going to trim it to the length because I don't want it to be as long as either of these two. So these are going to sit over top of each other, and this one is going to sit over top of that. So okay, I need to trim it about there. Okay, now another detail, you could do a typical flag type bottom where you cut a triangle out of the bottom, but I had to play with something else, and I'm just got to make sure this one will work. No, I need my big circle punch for this. You can do it with any size punch really, but I just find this, to keep my things even, this one works better. So I don't know if that comes all the way out. Hopefully you can see I'm putting the bottom, the open ends of my little flag, and just lining it up, trying to get it even, and taking it off so it creates that curved bottom. And then I'm going to do the same with the next one. I just thought this was a little bit different, a little bit fun, and showering me with the little pieces. And then finally on our contrasting one, doing the same thing. Yep, tiny wee slivers. Okay, so hopefully you could see that, but you can see the results. Okay, so time for layering up. So no, not quite. I do want to distress these. A lot harder to get in and do the edges once they are glued together. Right, won't take me long. So hopefully everyone's had a great weekend. I had a lovely weekend, just quite relaxing. Got some more firewood delivered on Saturday, so that takes off a bit of the pressure for the rest of the year. So it will be the last load that we get, so hopefully it will last. It's supposed to turn cold again later this week, so we've had some really mild days after some really cold days, and it's supposed to turn cold again. Not so much looking forward to that. I'll be doing probably 2 days over at hubby's work this week of filming. So Thursday, Friday I'll probably be over there unless I change my mind or something. I didn't end up doing much there last week. I only did 1 day because I wasn't feeling that great. I had a bit of scratchy throat and things, so I decided I'd stay home. Right, I'm just going to put glue on one edge. Sorry, hopefully you can see. And overlapping it on this one. So this is where the distressing just gives a little bit of definition. And then on this smaller one, I'm doing all over. And then gluing that over top. So not putting it dead center, but just off to the side a little bit. Got sponge crumbs. surprisingly quickly, those sponge crumbs, since I haven't been using that sponge for that long. But it is an older one. I've had it sitting around for a while waiting to be used. So maybe it's started deteriorating in the meantime. Okay, so there we go. We've got a little flag cluster. And that, actually, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Otherwise, I'm going to be all fingers and thumbs. So I'm going to glue the slanted pocket first. So I'm just doing the long side, the long bottom, and just that wee short side. And put that down first. Trying to get it straight-ish. There we go. Now I've got it sitting up from the edge of the page on that side and on this side actually as well, and that doesn't bother me. I think it's perfectly fine. And now for this side, just again along the bottom of the pocket. And if it does bother you and you've ended up with it slightly too high, now I'm just going to glue down that whole hinge strip, because otherwise when you put things in the pocket they're going to catch on that anyway and could stop it going in properly. So I'm just applying glue to the whole thing, and then it's not a worry. Your pocket will just be shallower, but it will remove any frustration of things getting caught up. So just those two sides, and then lay it down. So if this does bother you, you can just trim that off until it's the pocket sitting on the bottom of the page. Okay, so now we have in place pocket, pocket. This is too big for here, but a little pocket there, or side tuck. Then we've got our flip down, which you can decorate up. You could stencil, you could put a stamp in there, little decoration cluster, whatever you like. We are going to do something else there in a second. Okay, and this sits over top of the page like so, and you could put it you know, wherever you like, whichever side you prefer. And it's also going to decorate this side of the page. So we've got our pocket down here, and it's just going to create a little tying in interest. Now what I forgot to do, I did forget a step, is I edged this pocket on the last one. So that's annoying, I forgot how to do it. We might have to go to the second one so I can show you how to do that. Right, so I'm going to put this on more towards the inside of that page, so it's going to be on this part. So we just want to glue a little bit at the top on one side. So I'm just putting glue, because you don't want to risk it gluing this down to your page. You just want it to be able to hold it in place. So I've got an inch here, so I've glued it maybe half an inch. So this flip, just tucks up under it and keeps it in place. So I really, really like that. And then on the side, just glue the whole thing down. I did think about using this as a little up tuck as well, but I just felt it wasn't really necessary, and I didn't like the way it sat. And once you've got a journal card or whatever in this pocket, then there was kind of a bit of a clash between up and down. So that side I just completely glue down, but it's up to you. If you would like to use that as a little up tuck, then just glue it at the top so you can slide something underneath. But I think that works really nicely, just glued down as a wee decoration, and just ties in. So there we go. Whoops, just ran my finger into that. So hopefully you can see all that. Right, the other thing to do is I make a little tab topper for this flip down, just to indicate that the person can fold it down again. And for this, I'm just grabbing it. I use my envelope punch board. Now you could certainly do this without an envelope punch board, You could just draw the shape out. You could grab a file folder and draw around the tab, or use a printable and draw it around it. You know, there's lots of ways you could achieve this without a punch board, so don't be put off by that. But because I've got one, I'm going to use it. Now, I don't think I cut that at all straight, and it's too long, so I'm going to trim a bit of that off. And all these scraps will get used. They'll go into my scrap bin and they will be used for something. Yes, that's not straight at all. I'm going to have to straighten that because it will annoy me. Oops. I can get it straight on the mat. Oops. Oops, oops. It's an oopsie day. Right. That looks good enough to me. Certainly better than my hand cutting. So that will suffice. Okay, so just a strip of paper that's however wide you want to be. It doesn't need to be the whole width. It could be a short wee one. It's entirely up to you. And it needs to be wide enough that you can fold it in half. And then I'm going to place it in here, and I'm going to take my notches out. I might actually make this narrower than what I did, than what I've, oh, cut it. Gee, that was hard. And I can just trim it down. So now I just cut along here to make the arms, and I'm going to trim this one down to be about the same as the other side. Let's go down a bit more, and that's looking pretty good. So you can trim down those side bits as much as you want. You could even cut it straight down, I guess. I haven't tried doing that, but there's no reason why you couldn't. Just giving it a stress up, and I will distress that top edge before I glue this on, just to make life easier for me going forward. Again, whoops, there's crumbs all inside it. And with my tacky glue, so I'd love to know what you got up to at the weekend. Did you have a crafty weekend, a social weekend, a pajama type weekend? Love to hear about what you got up to. Right, here we go. And I think that just gives a nice little indication that there's a flip and a further flip to do there. And I also like putting these on journal cards as well, which I've been doing recently. So that tucks up under there. Now I'm going to pull out the one I did at the weekend and show you, because it's all decorated. When I find where I put it. Where did I put it? Just bear with me a moment. I seem to have buried it. Oh gosh, that was extremely not clever. I had it set out so it was easy to grab, and then I ended up burying it. Gosh, I'm just going to get rid of these little bits, and then I'll go through this one that I made. Right, so here we've got our little flag bit, and you can see that I cut the slanted bit on the other side as to what I did, the one I just made. I also added a little pocket here, which I forgot on this one. So I can, this is reminding me because I've only made one of each style, and so I have forgotten a few things that I did. So I'm just going to make a little pocket. So that you can see. I'm not measuring, I'm just lining up to get my straight edges. And I need it a bit narrower than that. I think about maybe a bit longer, about there. Hopefully it works. Can always trim a bit more off, can't we? Oops. Okay, yep, and with this one I do fold down the top. So I did it on this one. Just fold down the top a little bit to give it a nice strong edge when you're putting things in and out of that wee pocket. And is that going to be a problem? It is straight, but it looks crooked because the diamonds are crooked. I think maybe if I distress it, it might help hide that a little bit. And decorating up this pocket like I've done here with something can help distract from that as well. So I'm just going to put it down. So I'm going to glue that flap down first. Make sure that it's free of glue so I don't glue my pocket shut. Right, and because this is a little pocket, the finer you can get the edging of glue, the better. Otherwise you'll only fit something very, very tiny in it, which is okay too. Okay. Here we go, we have a little pocket on top of a pocket. So lots of fun layering things up. Now if you didn't want this pocket, then by all means just leave it off. Just add a decoration and call it good. Depending on your paper, you might not need a decoration. Now what I did forget to show you, which I really wanted to, was this edging on the pocket here. So I might do that with the other. I've made all the ephemera for this, so I've got this journal card here, and this actually inspired me to do another journal. So I'm going to be working on this journal, and I'm calling it Playful Days, and it's going to be full of bright colours mixed with the distressing, like your school days that you had growing up. So some vintage images of children playing. So this is a super sweet one from, I think it's Janet and John, books that, well, we had when I was at school, but this one is a 1947 or something edition. So super, super cute. And just backed it with vintage book page. And then in here, I decorated up the flip down with just some music and some words out of the Janet and John book. And then we've got our little flags that are holding it down. And then we've got our little tab top. And then in this top pocket, the sweet journaling card, this bear is from, I think, a children's illustrated dictionary. I fussy cut him out. Some of my words and just some layered bits and pieces, and a tag from, or label from, Artzology, and some vintage writing paper on the back. And then in this one I've done the tab top for the journal card. So some writing paper on the back, and then some more of my words, just a bit of collage. And this was out of it's one of the ones I got from Creative Junk in my haul video, one of this vintage songbooks, which I thought was cute. And then we've got a little pocket here with another of my words. I've got a sold Pirates playing card, which I thought was fun. And then an airplane, which is cut out, was in the same picture as the two children here. So I just put it in there because I didn't want to lose it, and it just adds a little decoration. So I think I'm so happy with this. I love how it looks. I love that even this area provides writing space, and then you've got writing space inside as well. Like, you've actually increased the writing space by taking up the coffee dyed paper that it's glued onto. You've actually given more than what you've taken, and when you take this out, you've got all the space to write as well. So just like the sky's the limit. And then just a mini playing card in this front pocket, just to go with the playful days type theme. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to do that trimming of the pocket, because I had to think about it a little bit. So I'm just going to grab my second piece. So this is my second 4x10, and fold it in half. And the reason for the trimming is, one, it reinforces that pocket to make it stronger for putting things in. This is a reasonable weight scrapbook paper, so it's not too big an issue. But also the look and tying in that second sheet of paper, the contrast, I think just works really well. So I'm going to do the slant, the opposite side to what I did the last one, which will be the same way around as I did this one. So again, just going from that fold to an inch, give or take, at the bottom. Now you could alter this as well if you prefer to have a point there. I actually quite like the cut off there, and this is the way that, oops, I just sliced my fingernail. This is the way that Cara-Renee did it as well. She left this bit here. Yeah, I've just taken a slice off my nail. I'm going to have to file that down. Not on camera. I will spare you that. Oops, I didn't cut that particularly well. Maybe my blade needs changing on my knife. So there we go, just trim that off. Okay, so on your contrasting paper, you need a strip that's, which one's wider? I just want to make sure I don't waste my paper. It's just over 7. That's about square, so it doesn't really matter. So wide enough that you can actually fold it in half lengthways. So no set measurement, just make sure that you can actually fold it in half, because it needs to wrap over the top edge of the pocket. So if it's too narrow, you won't be able to fold it in half, and you'll need to get a new piece. And it doesn't need to be completely in half, like if one side's longer than the other, it's not a problem because you won't see the inside part. Oops. And that's not folded straight, but it's not going to matter. Okay. So sit it over top of your slant. So this is the bit that gave me, is how to get this angle correct. Okay. So what I did was I took it off, set it over to, once I'd worked out that yes, it gave me the look I wanted and everything, lined it up so that it overhangs a bit, and then just trim it even with your fold line. And then when you slide it back on, it will go right up to that fold line and match perfectly, like so. So just trim a little bit off this end. I'm not going to trim entirely, just trim a wee bit, and then put some glue on both sides. Oops, a little tricky to hold being so small, narrow. Like so. And then remembering which way you're gluing it so that you get your nice clean line at the top. And I like to glue it on with it unfolded so that you don't end up gluing them together, because then you'll have to find something else to do with this piece. Because it won't wrap around the page if it's glued together. Just got a bit of bubbling there happening. I think that's the way it was folded. I didn't get a particularly good fold. But there we go. Just press it down, she'll be right. Okay. And now I'm just going to go in and trim off that little bit there. Not trimming that right to the edge to begin with just allows you a bit more movement in the paper. So if it needs to come in, you're not going to end up with a white edge showing. If you do end up with a white edge showing, then just trim the pocket off a bit. It's absolutely fine, but that's just how to avoid that happening. So that's how you put on that edging, which I wish I had done on this one. I would have preferred that. So when it sits on the page, you've got this nice contrasting edge, and then imagine another wee pocket down here, and beautiful. So there we go. That's how you can get 2 out of 1 sheet of 12 by 12, and then I've still got this bit left, which I could actually do another one out of, to be honest, although I haven't done the flip down for this one. So that would be cut out of this sheet, out of the same paper, or you could do it out of the other paper. This one I did it out of the same paper, and then did a contrasting paper with a pocket inside. But you could actually get 3 out of a 12 by 12 if you made this a third base and then used offcuts from this second 12 by 12, because that's all I've got left, plus a few little scraps. That's all I've got left out of the 2 12 by 12. So you could effectively make 3. I'm not sure if you'd have enough for another flip down out of this or not, but yeah, effectively you could make 3. So I think that's pretty cool actually. It uses up a lot of your paper. So I hope you really like this project. I hope that you could follow it okay, that I wasn't too sort of backwards and forwards on it. And I'd love to see if you make one yourself. I think they're super fun, very interactive, increases your writing space in a very fun way, and fun to decorate as well. So I will go ahead and decorate this up off camera, because I think, how we're sitting, yeah, we're almost in now, so I think that's long enough, because it will take me longer to decorate, because I haven't pulled anything out or thought about how I want to decorate it, because this will be for a different journal. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.